Yo, here we go, here we go. Here we go, here we go. Check the From the Shore to Be More show. Coming through strong with that podcast flow. Sunday afternoon at 2 to 3 p.m. slot. Got the Interstate 95 Turnpike hot. When you tune in, they don't just entertain. They come with the message that presses the brain. Those other podcasts, they seem microscopic. Cause they're the big balls that drop the hot topics. So short, be more dumb. You just stay ready for DJ Boom, Shaheem, and on Demi. Put them together, there's a treacherous string. From the tri-state area to the DMV. So sit back, relax, get your Sundays on. On after morning, gone before dawn. That positive vibe that we hitting so strong. With this podcast show, you can't go wrong. So, here we go, here we go. 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 Yes, we gotta do it tight. What's up, everybody? And welcome once again back to the From the Shore to Be More show. I am the one, the only, Shaheem.
And I am Deborah Singletary, known more as Aunt Debbie.
Yes, she is, people. And of course, we'll be getting our special commentary from the one, the only DJ Boom. That's right. He'll be coming up later, folks. And welcome back to another episode of From the Shore to Be More. We are so glad to see you back with us on this finally beautiful Sunday. And I say finally because if you live in my area, it's been raining on every weekend. But today is a beautiful day. Right on, Debbie?
I love it. I'm loving it. Plan to get out in it in a few minutes.
I know that's right. So do I. I have some things that I need to do and that I need to get to, but we have to get through this first. And again, welcome back, everybody. Today's show, we got a special one for you folks. I've seen people's reaction to this topic, and it all good though. All good though. I think people are ready to have this conversation. Today's conversation and today's topic is going to be what makes a man, what makes a woman. Are the lines being blurred in today's society? I think that's an excellent topic. Is it not, on Debbie?
It scares me.
And it scares a lot of people. But in today's world...
It's a very sensitive topic, you know? Very sensitive. Mm-hmm.
It is. And in today's world, I mean, it's a conversation that I didn't think people needed to have. But in today's world, unfortunately... Now, I don't want to say unfortunately, but in today's world, it's a conversation that needs to be had in this ever-evolving environment that we live in. And so that's what we're going to be discussing, folks. So stay tuned. We got a great show for you guys. Oh, David, can you hear these sound effects in the background? No?
I thought maybe, but it's fine right now.
I just want to make sure that I got all the equipment hooked up. That's all.
You sound great.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. It's always good getting compliments from you. Before we jump into today's topic, folks, I do want to mention, last week's show about complainers. It was a great show. Fantastic even, people. If you missed that show, you definitely want to go back and check it out. So, like I always say, during your work week or whether you're running around with the kids, if you just so happen to have missed our show last week, you can go back and check out that show and the many other episodes that we have if you might have missed them. So, check them out. And people, and while you're on our YouTube channel, please don't forget to subscribe. Also, I must also remind people that, yes, some of the episodes were stolen away from us by the powers that be, but you can still see them, including the Family Taylor reunion and Sunday, Soulful Sunday, R&B Sunday, I'm sorry. They can be, you can see them on therealshaheem.com, so you can go back and see all the episodes, folks. And don't forget to subscribe, please. Subscriptions do help us. All right, let's get to it. How was your week, Debbie?
How was my week? I'm trying to remember.
I
am what they call in the now moment. I think it was.
Okay.
Oh, here's my calendar. I went to a paint and sip. Yes, yesterday. That was my first one, and that was fun. And
Okay.
I actually did a filming in a park in New York City. Uptown.
Wow.
It was cold and damp, and but I was happy to get home, and the film is done.
I
It's
gotta
sitting.
say, you are a regular superstar. I mean, you've been in more films than Denzel Washington. I want to say that.
Two.
Oh, is
I've
it
been in.
two?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
It
two.
feels like more. Well, okay.
It feels like more to me, but I've been on television quite a bit.
Like I said, you are our own little superstar.
Uh,
And congratulations to
Well,
you on that.
I like it. I like it.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a busy week. I don't mean just for me. Uh, I want to mention, first of all, as you can see all the pink floating behind us, folks, that it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Okay. And so I want people to recognize the fact or recognize the survivors that are out there. People, because of advances in technology these days, more and more women are surviving breast cancer, and so I definitely want to recognize that. Like my very own mother-in-law, my wife's mother, she is a survivor. Here's a picture of her. My wife is on the far end there. Her mother's on the other end, and her sister is in the middle. Her mother uh, is a breast cancer survivor. So, as you can imagine, it's a topic that's very important to our family. So happy Breast Cancer Awareness Month to all the ladies out there, and especially to all the survivors out there. I just wanted to mention that. Also, real quick, since we're talking about this week, it's impossible to ignore the elephant in the room, and that's what's going on with Israel and the Palestinians over in the Middle East. I don't want to get into it too deep. People are so passionate about the topic, and I'm not here to choose sides about what's going on in here. What I did want to bring up and mention is the fact that for those who watch the show, you all know that my youngest daughter, Trasia, is proudly serving the United States in the U.S. Navy, and she actually is currently stationed over in the Middle East.
Really? Ugh.
She is, and so that was my reason for bringing that topic up. So that we recognize the young men and women who are serving this country and find themselves now caught up in the middle of all this. Her unit went on high alert uh, and readiness for whatever happens over in the Middle East. So our hearts, our thoughts, and I know for a lot of people, their prayers go out to not to my daughter for her safe return home, and to all the young servicemen and women who are proudly serving our country and defending freedom. So I definitely wanted to shout out to them. And we hope and pray indeed for you guys safe return home. All right. Moving past that. On a lighter note, it is football Sunday to all you sports fans out there, including myself. And for Giants fans, my New York Giants will be taking on the Buffalo Bills. My Giants are, dare I say, terrible this year, and they probably will lose this one. I will watch anyway because, as a true loyal fan, I just enjoy watching football. And so, shout out to my New York Giants. We hope you get a victory today. I don't know if you will, but we hope you will. DJ Boom, I'm sure, would like me to mention his Green Bay Packers, although the Green Bay Packers lost last Monday to the Las Vegas Raiders, 13-17. If he was here right now, I'd be rubbing that one in his face. He'll be along shortly, and I'm sure he'll have something to say. Before we move on, I just want to also mention that the WNBA championship games today between the Liberties and the Las Vegas Aces, the Liberty are down 2 games in this, and this is best of 5. So if they lose another game, they will be eliminated from the championships this year. I'm hoping for the best. They're playing in New York this year. They were in LA. Las Vegas the last 2 games. They're back home in New York today to play at 3:00. I will be watching, and I'm hoping for the best for the New York Liberty. We don't want to end the season like that, niggas. Come on now. Tri-State area is depending on you guys, so show up this game, please. All right. Let's keep this ball rolling, folks, like we always do on this show. We got a lot for you guys, and we want to get to it. And we hope you're enjoying the show today.
Get on up. Now if it's your birthday, get on up. Now if it's your birthday, if it's your birthday, if it's your birthday, get on up. Now if it's your birthday, get on up.
Happy birthday to everybody out there celebrating the birthday today, or one that just passed or maybe coming up. I have a few. Do you have any on, Debbie?
No.
I have a few actually. First and foremost, I gotta mention, make it a family affair, folks. My own daughter, Jasmine, my eldest. Her birthday is not today, folks, but it's coming up. It will be this coming up week, and I tell you, I couldn't be a prouder father of my girls, man. They through all of it, growing up, you know, do teenagers go through with their parents, they turned out to be some really amazing young ladies. So I want to recognize the upcoming birthday of my oldest. I'm not going to say her age, and I'm sure she don't want me to. Jasmine, so happy birthday to you, Jasmine. But also, I have a couple. Oh, thank you very much. A friend to the show, Greg Dunlap. His birthday is today. Yeah, it is. Yeah, friend to the show. Happy birthday, Greg. Really appreciate all the financial advice you give. And, you know, when I have a question, I will be calling again. So, happy birthday, Greg. Appreciate it. Enjoy your day, sir. Also, my niece, Christian, her birthday was yesterday. So I want to recognize her. Happy birthday, girl. Happy birthday, girl. You know I love you. Hopefully you're watching the show. Also, my other niece, Cassandra, her birthday just passed last week. Everybody sent her 1,000,000 happy birthdays. Well, here goes 1,000,001. happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Cassandra. Love you to death and hope you enjoyed your day. Also, birthday just passed. Desiree Clark, her birthday just passed. All right? So,
happy birthday.
Desi and her birthday. Happy birthday, cuz. Love you. Look forward to seeing you again soon. For those I just mentioned, you're also celebrating your birthday with some pretty famous people. I'm just going to name a couple, and then we're just going to keep it moving, folks. I just want to mention today's Genuine, the singer Genuine. My wife would have loved that. Today is his birthday. I'm not going to say how old he is, but I was surprised to see, so Google that, folks. Also, Keisha Cole, one of my favorite singers. To me, she doesn't get recognized enough. Today is also her birthday, so happy birthday to you, young lady. Also, for us, people who are a little more mature, it is Tito Jackson's birthday. Tito tends to be the forgotten member of the Jackson 5 because he didn't really sing much. He played the guitar, but happy birthday to Tito Jackson. All right, folks. And happy birthday to him and to everybody who's celebrating the birthday day. We wish you all the best for your birthday, folks. We definitely do. Let's keep the ball rolling.
I guess right now we should start the show.
Must see TV. Must see TV, folks. I got a couple that I want to mention. You have any on, Debbie?
I do have one. It's real old. We can mention old movies.
Absolutely, we can. Sure, we can. I'm looking forward to hearing it. What do you have?
So it's Man of La Mancha. It is the movie
Uh,
where the song "To Dream the Impossible Dream."
Dream, the impossible dream.
And some people might say it's a woman kind of soft movie, but Sophia Loren is in there with her fine self. Um, you
Mm.
know, beautiful movie, and the movie is about the risk in being yourself, the risks that artists take to put their stuff out. And we don't have the same risks as they did in the time of the Inquisition, where they, would just chop your head off. But
Right.
it still is not always easy to follow one's dream and ambition. So if you have
No.
Prime, it's on Prime or it's on free something freeze or some one of those streaming
Freeform.
platforms. So you could find it.
Okay. All right, man. From the market, folks. There goes one for you. Go check out today. If you're not watching us, we hope you're watching us. But when you have your free time and you're not watching us, you can go check that out. Also, I have a couple too. I saw a very, very powerful documentary. Yes, I do watch documentary, folks. On Disney Plus. I have not known them to get into political things and real serious topics at Disney, but they did have this because they do own what is it, National Geographic Channel or whatever. So they had this on there. The story of Bobby Wine, people. Oh my God. Bobby Wine is a famous, well, you probably never heard of him, but in Africa, he's a famous musician in Uganda, in the country of Uganda. And it talks about not just his prowess in the music over there, but the fact that he became a politician and tried to change the country. Because if you don't know your history or don't know the history of the country Uganda, it's okay. I'm going to give it to you a little bit. The country's been ruled for over 30 years by one person. Their names are tough. Mugambi, I think is his name, people. And this is the story of how Bobby Wine became a politician and tried to change that. I don't want to give you too many details, but it was powerful. It was extremely powerful. So if you get a chance today, I would advise people to sit down with your coffee or your tea, whatever you like, and check this one out. You're gonna love it. So shout out to Disney Plus. Also, Survival of the Thickest. This is funny. This is a comedy, and it's one of my wife's favorite people. Survival of the Thickest. It's a series. I forgot the name of it. I should have wrote down the young lady who stars in it, but that's what it's called. Survival of the Thickest. It's about African American women. Thickest. It's right there in the title. It's on Netflix, folks, and I think you really enjoy it. It's a comedy. It was hilarious. So go check that out. One more, and then we're gonna get the ball rolling. It is Halloween, folks. I'm not going to mention any particular movie. I happen to like horror movies. I've seen just about all of them. Yes, I do. So I would encourage people, if you're sitting down today, go check them out because it's October and Halloween is coming, they're all out there. They're all out there on all streaming platforms, even on regular TV. So you might want to just sit down today and check out a horror movie if that's your thing. All right? And then we have it, folks. Must see TV. All right? Yes. Yes. We're going to get into the topic, folks. But before we do that, I just want to mention this. If people out there have show ideas, topics that they would like us to talk about, or if they would like to participate in any games that we have, or suggestions for Must See TV, or would like to give your birthday shout outs, you can contact the show. I encourage you to do so, and please comment during the show as well. You can reach us. Our Instagram is at From the Shore to Be More. Our Twitter is at 2_Be More. Our email is From the Shore to Be More at gmail.com. Or you can call the show, especially businesses that are looking to sponsor. You can call the show at 732-440-9314, folks. I also have to say this, and then we're going to jump into today's topic. Donations, people. Everything we do on the show has a cost, and we need your help, not just to keep the show going, but to keep the show growing. people. So we ask all our loyal viewers out there, the many loyal viewers out there, I want to say thank you. I got a lot of contact about the show this week, so people are checking us out. But we need your support. You can send donations to not Cash App. Cash App is extremely difficult. I don't want you to have any problems. You can send your donations to paypal.me/from the shore to be more. Anything you send to us will be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much. There you have it, folks. All right. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. The thing you all been waiting for. Let's just go ahead and jump right into this. What does it take to be a man or make someone a man? Or what does it take to make someone a female? In today's society, people might say the lines are getting blurred because people prefer to go by so many different pronouns these days. But that's not just the only reason. I've heard, and people, you can chime in, please. We want your comments. I've heard people say, homosexuals, gay men say things like to women, I guess defending their feminine, homosexuals defending their feminine, I would say things like, just because you can have a baby or just because you have a period doesn't make you a woman. To me, that sounds absolutely crazy. But I heard someone say that before on social media, and that's crazy. Have you heard that before, Debbie?
No, I haven't. But is there a difference between female and woman? Because the person who was born female is likely, in most cases, to be able to carry a child.
Right.
But a person can choose to, they could be born in one gender and then choose to say that they're a woman.
Say that they're a woman.
You know, the major challenge is that man and woman are likely roles that are cultivated as soon as a baby is born.
Okay.
I noticed there you have blue for the males, pink for females.
Okay.
And so as soon as we slap, as soon as that baby comes up, many people, I think this is changing somewhat, they say, oh, you're a boy. And they start projecting onto that baby how they should behave as a boy who's going to grow into a man, and the same with women.
So you think that maybe society is getting caught up too much in the vocabulary of it all? In other words, a man could be or a person could be considered a man or manly, but not necessarily be a male. Or a person could be considered feminine, but not necessarily be a female.
Well, it depends on who's doing the considering. Okay. And, so one of the things that I'm learning from my friends, my younger friends in particular, is that they're challenging how it is we look at people. Okay. And so we look at people and we see certain characteristics, and we therefore think we know who they are. And the person who we're projecting onto may not feel what we are projecting onto them. That might not be how they feel about who they are. And, and so I'm going to say in the olden days, there were two sexes considered, two sexes or two genders, male and female. And now many people are not seeing themselves. Now, I'm going to make a lot of mistakes, y'all, young folks. So pull out my old card, like, give a sister a break. I'm going to do the best I can here. But when we're talking about gender,
Okay.
gender is specifically, oh God, where are my notes? Gender is specifically masculine or feminine.
Either
Um,
or, I would imagine.
those are principles. So let's think of like, in order for me to turn on my TV, I have to plug it in the wall. The
Okay.
plug is considered masculine. The receptacle is considered feminine. This is just a principle. It
Right.
doesn't mean that the plug can't be painted pink, although they don't bother because this is and
Right.
that the wall, it's so it doesn't.
Right.
This is the way it's going to function. That
Right.
energy, gender manifests on all planes as masculine and feminine. And in order to have electricity, you have to have a balance of both. And I
Okay.
do believe it's an equal balance. So I don't think we can get away from gender.
Right.
However, if somebody says to me that they're gender fluid, which is a term I hear often, then I am going to, I don't know really what they might want me to do with that at that moment.
It's confusing.
I don't know what it means. Like we'd have to have a dialogue, well, what do you mean by that?
Right.
And is there something you want from me? Like, am I supposed to approach you a certain way? Like
Okay.
I really don't know, but I understand from being a woman, and I would say that I'm a woman.
Right.
By the way, I'm not a lady though.
There's no confusion there.
I'm not a
I
lady,
get it.
I'm a woman. That's how I see myself. But I
Right.
also know I'm not a woman like all other women.
Okay.
And I understand that for many people in my family, I was thought to be odd for making the decision not to bear children and not
Okay.
to get married. Now, today, that may not seem so radical, but when I was in my 20s and announced to my brother that I wasn't going to have children, he was horrified. He was mad. And he said, well, that's like your body is going to waste. So
Wow.
my response to
Powerful.
him was, well, when your wife is not having babies, is her body going to waste? And I'm doing other
Yeah.
things with my energy.
Right. And it's your decision to make. I want to say this, and you can chime in on Debbie. I think the LGBT plus. I might have said it wrong. I'm sorry, people, if I have. I'm from a,
Where are your notes? You should have notes.
well, maybe better ones, right? And yeah, that community is making it complicated for me, and I come from a different time, I guess. It seems more simpler. The lines seem to be drawn. If you're born one way physically, and it speaks to, I think, what you were saying about gender. There's no way you can change. In other words, I'll say this: if a lesbian decides that, okay, they want to project themselves more as a man, and so they might even go through the changes. I know some males might even go through sex changes, things like that. Okay, but physically, hormonally, medically speaking, you will always be either a male or a female from a medical perspective. That's it. If the doctor draws your blood, he's going to know automatically what you were from birth, no matter what you describe yourself out on the streets, right?
No,
That's
understood.
true. That's true. You're born either way. You might describe yourself or consider yourself to be one way or another, different from the way you were born, but medically speaking, you will never change. You will never change. Your hormones cannot change. Medically speaking, you cannot change. It's impossible to do.
But people receive at birth different amounts of the hormones.
Right.
So
yes,
that they may
correct
be gendered and they may be anatomically
One way or the other.
more, or
Right.
one way or the other,
Right.
but they may be emotionally and psychologically
Right. Right.
the
Right.
opposite sex, and they
Mhm.
may have interests in both worlds. So, I don't know that it's always a matter of either or.
Mm. And that's why we're having this conversation. The lines are being blurred. I mean, when I was coming up as a child, many
They
years
don't
ago,
feel it's
uh,
blurred. I think it's important to understand that they don't feel it's blurred.
yeah,
They
okay,
meaning people who take on another way of talking about themselves, take it on because of their clarity about who they are,
right.
and I guess they wish to be respected
And
or treated
okay,
accordingly.
okay. And I can understand, yes, in that community, they don't feel it's blurred. They don't want it to be blurred. Of course not. And they're living in their world and this different ideology or way of looking at things. And so, yeah, I get the fact that they don't see it as being blurred. But the rest of us do see it as being blurred. But and I'm gonna get back to what I was talking about. As a child growing up, there were only two symbols for men and women. I think you see them wrong side, right in back of me right here. Those were the symbols for men, for a man or a woman. Now, doing my research for today's show, this is what I found. What the heck happened? What in the world happened?
Well, you know, like I'm not going to
What?
memorize those symbols. I'm going to tell everybody now. If you meet
What?
me and you introduce yourself to me, tell me,
Right.
how you see yourself. But
Right.
uh,
Don't make us guess.
in a
Don't make
broad
us guess.
sense, what if there have been stories about men who fathered a child, and right away, they're like sports, um, um, whatever things that are culturally considered masculine. And what
Right.
about
Okay.
that awful thing of men don't cry? A lot of harm is done to people because they're told that they should feel a certain way. They shouldn't cry. And if you cry,
Okay.
you're called a sissy or a
Mhm.
pussy or something considered, and if it's a woman, it's considered derogatory, right? And so if you're a man acting like a woman, then that's derogatory, which means that they don't have respect for women, period.
Okay.
So that brings up, that issue. But I think it might seem to be confusing, but I think it's helpful to inspire us to, at the very minimum, to just when we approach people, to approach people with a mystery. We don't know who they are. Don't
That's
automatically assume.
that's just not fair.
It's
That's
not.
well, no. It is confusing. Well, maybe to me. People, please chime in if you feel differently. Of course, I want to hear your comments. It's why should I have to guess what you are, or I'm sorry, not what you are, but what pronoun you subscribe to? Why should
You
I have
should,
to guess
you
that? And then
should
and then
walk
on the flip side, I'm sorry, but real quick, on the flip side of that, how can you possibly be insulted if I don't get it right?
Well, so here's what Anais
Really,
told.
people.
Here's what Anais told me, which I did find very
Oh,
helpful.
I'm sorry. Who?
Anais, our
Okay,
guest,
right,
we have a
right,
recording, which we probably,
right.
this around now might be a good time to put it on. But what
Sure,
she
sure.
wanted me to know that it wasn't a matter of me getting it right. It was just a matter of appreciating and respecting
Okay,
that this person saw themselves in a particular way. So, for
okay.
example, my name is Deborah. I was born Deborah. If I go into an environment and people say, "Hey, Debbie," I'm be like, "No, that is not my name." Unless you're my niece or nephew, then I'm Aunt Debbie. But other than that, which I stayed with because they were children, I was Debbie. You know, I'm not going to try to make people change all of that. I could if I wanted to. Why don't you?
Of course.
I know it means they love me and I like what that feels like. But nobody else should call me. Don't just start calling me Debbie. But if you start calling me Debbie, I'm not going to hit you. I'm going to say, oh, my name is Deborah. Please call me Deborah. And they ought not to feel ashamed or blamed or criticized because their instinct, in their culture, they shortened all Deborahs to Debbie.
Right.
So I don't think if we feel badly, you know, that has something to do with us and how we, you know, how sensitive we are to criticism. For what might be perceived as criticism, but it's really not. You know, it's not about getting it right. I think it's about being compassionate. And you should put on the thing because otherwise, I think I'm going to start saying everything she said to me.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and introduce her, and I'll play the audio.
Well, actually, you know what? I kind of introduced her in the audio, so you could just put it on.
You got it. Except
I'll say one thing while you're putting it on. Let me say that Anais is my director in one of the movies that I did. She's my director.
Okay. Here we go.
And my friend. Hi, Anais.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me turn up the volume. That's on me.
Discuss just what it is for me as a Black queer woman, as I navigate this fluid space of gender identities. I feel like I use she, her pronouns. I want to be careful of like using language like identify because a preferred pronoun is a preference and not so much. I think I often hear people, and sometimes I'm one of those people, and I have to check my own self, where people identify folks who don't fall under, who don't use the pronoun she, her, and call them a they. And it's a preferred identity. And so for me, my pronouns are she, her, and that's specific because as a kid growing up as a Black girl, it felt like people wanted to project an identity onto me, a gender identity of tomboy. And I didn't feel tied to that just because I love sports or I love wearing boys' clothes because they had better graphics on them. It didn't feel like I was far away from what I understood being a Black girl. But as an adult, as I've lived in these very queer spaces like California and San Francisco, or Ann Arbor and Michigan, and currently in the town that I live in now, like these are historic locations that have queerness, queer culture enmeshed in it. And so when I moved out of New York and went to California, I was able to gain some new information. And at the time, there was this opening of new gender identities being offered that are not just this binary of she, her. And I think when we were just kind of brainstorming or just discussing right now, she, her is much different than masculine, feminine. And so we want to just kind of be careful about what we're speaking about at a specific time and not to group them all in as the same. Because for me, at least, I identify as someone who's fluid, where it wasn't until a Black woman said that she saw me as hybrid that I got to really value that. Because before it would just be like, all right, I'm going to present extra femme, or I'm going to present in how I feel, very athletic, sporty, which can be read as masculine. But once I understood it to be kind of together and not separate, then I felt like, wow, that's how I really identify. So I say all that to say that my pronouns are she, her. though I identify as being gender fluid. I don't feel like I fit into one category. But because I've been pushed out of what a Black woman or a Black girl appears as, I claim that identity as she, her, because it's important for me to cultivate a space within this idea of what Black womanhood is.
Oh, wow.
All right.
I had intended to first introduce you, but I'll introduce you now as a film director and a professor at a historic women's college, and also as my friend, one of my closest friends. I value your presence in my life so much.
Likewise.
And in your works, you focus on the experiences of underrepresented racial, ethnic, queer, and gendered identities. So when I walk into a room and there are myriad people, a lot of people, and I am meeting people and people are meeting me, is there a consciousness I need to enter the room with? And how might that consciousness inform my language?
I think everyone should enter a room with a sense of compassion, more so consciousness. I think, that is something that is learned, right, and developed depending on what spaces we all are enmeshed in or immersed in growing up. Many of us are in very isolated areas where there aren't advanced language being kind of circulating in those spaces. So when you enter into a space, and I think it depends on generation, location, like so many factors go into that. But I think so much information is out there that we could do individually as we enter into a space. And so teaching at, say, a historic women's college, it's important to establish early on, hey, what are your pronouns? What are your preferred pronouns? How would you like to be identified in terms of your name? Because everyone's birth name is not their chosen name or their preferred name. And so sometimes what might be listed on my roster might not be who the student is and who they identify as fully, because paperwork. And it could be a trigger for that person where there's this idea of dead names, where if I was a trans person and Anais or the name Michelle was something that didn't fit, or it was something that I felt very, I guess, in opposition to, and I want you to, my chosen name is Mike or M or AM. I want you and my class to feel like you can bring your full self. Like, we're in an institution, so, to an extent, but bring your full self. I want to respect your preferred pronouns. I want to respect your name so we can cultivate a space where there is an exchange and a building of trust and a sense of seeing each other. I think in my work, I think the gaze is a theme that I'm just so fascinated. And when I say gaze, I don't mean like gaze, but like the gaze, Gaze, this idea of looking and seeing. And so, yeah, I think if I was to go into a space and I was teaching a class, given the time period that we're in, given the demographics, I think it would be helpful to have folks share their names, their preferred names, and their preferred pronouns. So when there are exchanges, we are directly speaking to them. Have you ever read a book back in the day and it was like, he will do da 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 da, but he was supposed to represent all of humanity? And it's like, but there's such a disconnect there. I don't feel connected to that idea because it says he. How could it feel more inclusive if it used they? And then I'm like, oh, okay, that meant me too. Or not that I have to. And the same thing with Latino. Latino is centering, it speaks to a whole population of folks, a whole demographic of folks, but it just centers men. And so again, I think we're trying to move away from centering heteronormativity, patriarchy, and kind of move into a space where we're speaking to the identities that exist, the identities that make up this world more intentionally, and centering those underrepresented voices, like decentering white maleness or maleness sometimes. Like, you know, I feel like, you have lived experiences where we've had conversations about like the challenges sometimes of working with black men. And like, for me, I love the Black Panthers, but at the same time, I challenged this notion of the Black Panthers because it was all about uplifting the Black men and excluding Black women. And so, yeah, I just think that there's so many different ways you can walk into a space with compassion, more so than consciousness. We might walk out of that space with a consciousness, but if we walk in with compassion, I think there's more that we will take away.
Thank you, Anais. That's brilliant. And I hope one day you'll give a Zoom class on this so that I can learn more. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate this dialogue. I think, we are coming from different generations. And so what you may have witnessed might be very different than what I'm experiencing and witnessing. And that's why it's important for us to have these conversations to kind of bridge this world of the unknown, right? So, I'm grateful for your own curiosities into it and not just succumbing to, well, this is how we did it back in the day. Because it's just like, okay, cool. So you're okay with being excluded back in the day, and you want to
we weren't.
that? Right.
This is really supposed to be about you, but I will say I was the back in the day person who said women are not girls. When I'd be working in corporate America and they'd say my girl, or in writing, at that time, the best we understood to do was to say he/she, he or she. Women are not chicks. I mean, I had my own preferences, but now I'm succumbing to mom.
I want to say that was a great conversation. Oh, Debbie. Anais, and I hope I'm saying her name right. Anais, correct? Yeah. She touched on a few things that I thought was really important. I thought the fact that she was touching on how we are, the mindset we should be in when we enter a room. I thought that was very interesting. And another thing she talked about, which I think is one of the most important things, the generation gap that's there in the way of looking at this particular topic. She was right in the sense that, like, and I said it before, we came up in a world, it was men, there was women. We always knew homosexuality and these things existed, but no one ever expected for pronouns to be challenged in the way they were, in the way they are.
To change their sex.
Right.
I mean, I was
Right.
recently on set with a trans woman.
Okay.
And it was my first time looking at her, really looking and being in dialogue and being in conversation for, I heard this stuff on talk shows. And here I was face-to-face with this trans woman who, for me, read woman, and her pronouns were she. I thought she might be they, but it was she. And, she, she's my friend now. She's another one of my buddies.
But again, it speaks to what I brought up earlier about the fact that yes, there are transgender people out there. We do understand that, but in the medical sense, you will always be what you are when you were born. You will always be that. You will always be that, no matter what you consider yourself as, or what pronoun you choose to use.
So.
Just making a point here. Just making a point.
So I mean,
because then why?
If I become trans and I change my hormones but medically, so you say that to say what? Like,
Yeah, I said so. Then why have this battle over the pronouns? Does the word
well,
really mean?
why
Does
do we
that really
feel it?
mean so much to you that
Well,
you have to have this battle over pronouns?
is it a battle? Like, does it have to be a battle?
It's starting to feel like it. I
Yeah,
mean,
I get it. I mean, I was recently, when I was on set, I was recently corrected because I called somebody a she, and
okay,
they were a they, and I felt some kind of way about it. But how I felt was how I felt. The person wasn't
okay.
intending to, insult me, but I was like,
Oh, okay.
and also on set there was a person who had a beard,
Mm-hmm.
and then when they turned around, they had this figure which I recognized as feminine. And there
Okay.
were other things like the voice. And I was like, oh, y- you know, it's why it's consciousness raising for me, because we shouldn't think we know anybody. Like often
Okay.
people who categorize themselves as poor assume that all people who have money are going to be stuck up, or all people who
Okay.
live in it. And we project that onto them. And maybe they project onto us because we live in the projects that where I was proudly born and raised, that we're ignorant. Maybe we project onto people. I in this building, because of the way I dress,
Mm-hmm.
often experience that people assume that I'm stuck up. I don't think I'm stuck up, but I use it. I speak the way I speak, and when I come in my building, now that marijuana is legalized, and there are all these men on the corner, and now they're openly rolling their joints and smoking them. And forgive me, everybody, for
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't like it. I don't like it. But I
Nah.
told myself, I said,
Mm,
Deborah, when you walk through the street, you really have to look at these young boys as your nephews.
mm.
You really have to take them as your family. You don't want to project any energy of, eh, you ain't nothing. You ain't nothing. You ain't about nothing because you're on the corner.
Well, I
Although
think
I'm tempted to bring a table with art supplies out there and say, y'all want to make some art, so to give them an opportunity to express that way. But do you see what I mean? Like, we look at
yeah.
people all the time and say, one of my cousins said about me, I don't know what's wrong with her. She's smart, she's
Mm,
intelligent.
okay.
He couldn't understand why I didn't have a baby and a co-op and a car, you know,
That's not
because
the life for everybody.
I don't roll like that. It's not the life for
Right.
everybody.
That's not the life for everybody.
It's
And
not
I
the
think
life for everybody.
no, no, and I think and I spelled it out best when she talked about enter. You have to today's world. You have to enter the room or just look at people in generally with an open mind.
With an
Uh,
open
uh,
not with not knowing. Because once we say I
right,
know what you're about.
right.
You're wearing a red cap. You must be a Crip. I mean, or
Yeah,
blue.
but okay, but
You know,
even
like
so,
once we think we know, then not we are perhaps putting up a barrier to relating between people. So I think it's a good. I'm annoyed, sometimes.
mm,
I am, and because I try, and then I'll get they, and then all of a
yeah.
sudden I go in she, and I'm like, it's annoying. However, it is somebody's. It's important to some people, and I want to respect that, even if it's not how it's for me.
I think that's the biggest thing right there. I think you said respect.
Yeah.
Respect. I think that's the biggest thing right there. I mean, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I don't want to get it wrong. I understand that the environment's changing
Hmm.
around me, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with
Hmm.
that. But when I enter the room, I don't want to get it wrong. And you're right when you say that when we get it wrong, it's probably more about us. I do feel bad. It's not my intention to hurt anybody's feelings, obviously. And
Mhm.
so I want to get it right. So with that comes some learning, and that's exactly why we're having this
Mhm.
conversation now. For me, my personal opinions, I will always be, because I came up in that world. It would always be, you're a man or you're a woman. That's just my way of looking at things. I can respect the fact that you might use it. Yeah, for me, and I can respect the fact that you might use a certain pronoun. I can respect that. That's not a problem for me. But in my eyes, you will always be, at the end of the day, one or the other. But that's my way of thinking. That's my way. That's my thing.
Well, in my experience with you, Shaheen, I
Yes.
would say you're a man. And a man. I'm like, oh, my nephew Shaheen, he's a man. And most of our lives, it doesn't matter because I'm at a family gathering. Y'all let me eat, and that's the most important thing. But when we started working together, I
Right.
did feel that your masculinity was often made it difficult for me to get my points across when we were planning these meetings. Like
Okay.
it seemed to me that if I said, let's do this, you were like, no, no. And you had a loud voice and you were really very masculine. And I felt some kind of way at first. And then I thought to myself, I don't know your story. Maybe women tried to control you. I don't know. So I backed off, right? Because by the way, astrologically, we add up the masculine and the feminine. I'm going to tell you, I am a masculine, energetically woman. Now I read feminine. I'm a woman, but I am masculine. So when my masculinity met with your biological masculinity, we were butting heads.
We were.
And then I decided that I would employ the feminine as power. And you know how I did that? I sat right back and let you have it. I was like, have at it. And
Well,
you
I
know what?
appreciate
I think that changed the trajectory. And then the next thing I know, I got my own segment. And I think that comes from, you and I working things out. And I
Right.
do have the advantage of being older than you. I do think, I think it's an advantage. Do you want me to say my last word without having to put on that video to cut some time?
This is making a difference to me. I'm having fun with it. So whatever. It's fine. We can roll with the punches. I want to say
Tell me
this.
what you want, because I think I'd like to make my last statement right here.
You want to do it right now? Oh, okay. Go
You
ahead. Go
don't
right
want me
ahead.
to? No, no,
No,
go ahead.
no,
Shaheen,
no,
you do your
no, no,
thing.
no, 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 no. Listen, you got something you want to say? I want to hear it. Go ahead.
Well, here's would be my last word. Be responsible for your own identity. Don't feel according to, you don't need me to understand or agree or see you any kind of way for you to feel good about yourself. It is your responsibility to know your identity and to be all right with it. And you don't need another other to agree. And if you do, then you're putting power in the other person's hand. You be you
There you
and
go.
have fun at it.
There you
And I
go.
love you anyway. And please invite me to dinner because I'm always looking to eat. I'll come.
There you go, folks.
If you cook.
Wise words being spoken. Wise words being spoken, everybody. Take heed to them. Okay. Well, with that, we're gonna start rounding things out. Debbie, what you got coming up this week?
Well, I'm going to Maryland. I'm going to Baltimore tomorrow to see about my brother, and that's really my main activity this week.
Okay, I hope he's doing well. I know his birthday just passed, right?
It's coming up.
It's coming up. Okay, yeah, I hope he's doing well.
Sag. She's a Sag. Thank you for saying that.
Oh, of course, of course. And folks, as always, as you know, I stay busy, so I got a lot of things going on. But I want to say, first and foremost, recognize our cousin I's son has a clothing line, tailor-made, folks. And he's currently making varsity jackets for you out there. So if you would like to get one personally made for yourself, make sure you reach out to I's son and tailor-made. But also, we cannot forget me, Hazy Trays. Make the excellent gift for those out there looking for the special gift for that special someone in your life. Holiday season is coming up, so I encourage you to please go to hazytrays.com and check your boy out. Our custom trade sets can be donned with any image that you send me. Okay? So please go check that out. And as usual, yes, I do have stuff coming up. In fact, Samir and I are about to drop a song very soon for everything that's going on with me in the world of Shyheim. Just make sure you go to therealshyheim.com and you can see everything, including my song that's slowly but surely rising, Weightless. Folks, you can go get that song.
All right.
Yeah. Actually, surprisingly, it's picking. Nah, I shouldn't say surprisingly,
Not
but
surprisingly.
no, not surprisingly. It's picking up steam. So I want to thank everybody out there for supporting. And we apologize about Boom not showing up this week. Something must have happened. We'll reach out to him. I'm sure he'll be back next week for you folks. But that being said, I saw that Boom recently, I think, purchased the house. So I want to congratulate him on his...
No, that was the other brother, wasn't it?
No, Boom.
What?
Yeah. Check out social media. He posted it.
It wasn't
all
his
about
brother?
it. No. He posted all about it. Go check it out on Debbie. So I want to say
I
congratulations.
know. And if you're wrong, you owe me $50.
$50, a whole $50. Look, you ought to know I'm never wrong.
That's that male thing. That's that male thing.
I'm never wrong, but
He's never wrong. That's that.
but if I'm right, you owe me dinner.
I'm not one of them kind of women who cook dinner. All my nieces and nephews know that when they come to my house, I order Chinese food. Okay, so I'll order you dinner, some Chinese food.
Well, we can talk about it next week when we come back, folks. We want you to come back with us, all right, for another episode of From the Shore and Be More. Look, it's been great. It was a great conversation. I want to thank Anais for coming through and blessing us with her wise words. We really appreciate that, and we will see you guys again next week, right back here on From the Shore to Be More. So enjoy your week, everybody. We'll see you next week.